everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, it is Dimma here. Today's video is going to be a storytime video. I haven't done one in so long, guys. I wish that my life was popping like that, so that I'd have a new storytime video for you guys every week. But things have been really chill for me, and I'm not going to come here and make up one lie. But the story that I'll be telling in this video is very important, and it's from a long time ago, and I feel like it's especially important right now. I'm going to get back to why I feel like this story that I'm about to tell is important for right now. Before I start, this is the last day of International Women's Month. There's been a lot of celebration. The wig that I'm wearing is from a Nigerian brand called Natural Girl Wigs, and this month they celebrated women. The hair that I'm wearing right now is from their Kinky Blow Out range. They specialize in wigs, or they just mostly make wigs that have hair texture that is very similar to ours. Okay, they do a lot of wigs that look like natural hair, and then they have this range that is hair that looks like ours, blown out and like pressed. You can see that this is straightened, but it has a lot of volume, just like my own hair would look if I straightened it. So I think that this is really cute. I'm going to leave all the details that you guys would need about this particular style that I have on right now in the description box, but they're a Nigerian brand and they deliver nationwide and worldwide as well. So the hair came in this really nice, cute looking tote. I love these, especially for shopping. So I'm going to put this to good use. It also came with a little care card that just kind of shows you how to maintain the wig, how to wash it, how to co-wash it, how to moisturize it, how to take care of it. And to be very honest, everything that they've stated here is just basically how you ideally should take care of your own hair. So their website, the specifications for this hair that I'm wearing right now, and all the things that you guys are going to need are going to be in the description box. Okay, so about my story, this happened a very long time ago. I would have been max 6. I was not more than 6 years, and between 5 and 6, guys, I don't really remember a lot of things about my life. Maybe just little things that happened when I was in primary school, but then this is one memory that kind of just stands out, and I remember it. Like, when I remember, it plays back like a movie, like it was yesterday. When it was happening, I didn't even really understand what was happening. It was like, as I had grown older, that it really dawned on me what God had saved me from. At the end of every year, Igbo people go back for Christmas. So I know that we had just gone back for Christmas during this time, and there was this guy that was friends with some of my uncles. And at this time, my uncles were really young. A lot of them were in uni at the time. So I had seen him. He would come over to the house whenever, like, you know, they were around. Like, I'd see him, would say hi to him, would like, we knew this guy. You know the thing about kids and how everybody's just together, family, like, especially when family is together, everybody's just together. He will come and visit, and it wasn't the first time. So let's say like we go back all the time, and sometimes even like when we don't go back, sometimes, let's say when my uncles were with us, when he would come to visit my uncles, he would come to the house. So he was somebody that me and Norma, like, we knew him. I wouldn't say we knew him very well, but he was a very familiar face. And just like if we were greeting, it would be like, uncle, good afternoon, uncle, good morning. We'll also greet him, uncle, good morning, uncle, good afternoon. He was such a regular face at the house at the time. So village is very fun. Like, you know, guys, when we're in the village, like, I looked forward to going back to the village. There was so much to do. You know, like, you watch Nigerian movies, we'll try to act out these Nigerian movies, like, the environment was just perfect. So it was something we look forward to, and we would play the most innocent type of play. We would cook with sand, we would just do things, run around, and then like in the village, like, your neighbors are probably not as close as they are in town. Sometimes you had to walk through one person's compound to get to another person's compound. That was how it was. There were some of our relations around our age who lived in the village that we would follow around most of the time. So wherever they're going, if they're sent on errands, we just follow them. Okay, so they had just sent our relations on an errand. And let me tell you guys, like, things have changed now. Things have changed so much now that, like, I'm sure that parents are a lot more just conscious of these things. But then we were all just playing. The adults were just basically in one part of the house having their own kind of conversations, and we were entertaining ourselves. They had just sent our relation who, like I told you guys, lived in the village. Like, whenever we'd come back, he would be like our tour guide. He would show us all the good places. He was also very close to our own age. So he had just been sent on an errand, and we're like, okay, let's follow you and go. You know, because his parents lived in the village, he lived in the village, and he was like, okay, we're like, let's follow you and go. Where are you going? Everything just seemed exciting to me and the Norma at that point. He had been sent on an errand to a place that was very very close to our own compound. So just some meters away, his own compound. So he was going to his own compound, which was very close to our own compound. So me and Norma all excited. Oh, we're just like skipping along with him. And then on the way to his own compound, we meet this guy who was our uncle's friend. And he goes, oh, where are you guys going? And this person that I'm talking about should probably have been just about to enter uni or last few years of secondary school. I don't know how old he was, but I know that he was definitely someone we called uncle. And he was around the same age as my uncle. So he was definitely most likely about to enter uni or already in uni when this was happening. So he was like, oh, where are you guys going? We're like, oh, they sent XYZ to go get this, and we decided to tag along. And he's like, oh, so what are you guys doing after that? Or some random stupid question. He was like, oh, that he could buy us, that we could come with him so that he would buy us something. Me and Norma were like, oh, are you serious? So this is our uncle now. So our uncle had come and said he wanted to buy something for us. And we're like, okay, no problem. Where do you want to go buy it? He said that it's some lady that sells something close to our house. Prior to that, one of my aunties had already told me that, oh, she's going to take me to that lady's shop so that I can just pick out whatever I want, she will pay. So I had already heard about this place where he wanted to take us to. I was like, okay, no problem, let's go. He said he was going to buy us some pencils, either pencils or crayons, whatever it is he had promised us. I can't remember which one it was, but it was something that you'd use for writing. So we follow him, and then that's when things kind of get a bit weird, because our other cousin or our relation who had been sent on an errand, I guess maybe because he felt he had to report back to the adult who had sent him for something, he just like ran along while we were talking with the guy. He now says he has to stop and pick something from his own house, which is just like another compound next to my cousin's compound. Let me tell you, this compound that we're now talking about is also a compound that me and Norma had entered more than once, like multiple times. You know, we had entered multiple times, so we knew it. Like all of this outside of the shop that we ended up going to was familiar. We knew the compound, we'd never entered his room before. He now tells us he needs to get something from his room, so he takes me and Norma into the room. And then the door is open, because I think that someone was about. So he said we should wait for him, or we should just come in, he needs to get something. And then I think that we had seen some people, I can't remember, but I know that there were other people, one or two other people in the compound. So we come into the room, and then there's a radio on, and then the radio is like blaring out songs. My mom's sisters were very like savvy, they knew all the hits at the time, and there was this popular R. Kelly song that would hear them play the song all the time, so I knew the words to the song. And then the R. Kelly song comes on, so he goes like, oh, do you guys know this song? And we're like, yeah, we know the song. He says we should just sit down and wait for him so that he will grab what he needs so that we can go to the store. So the song is still playing, and I think I was trying to, in my own like way, just kind of sing along to the song. And then he was like, are you guys thirsty? And I'm like, no, I'm not really thirsty. He was like, oh, that he can give us something to drink before we go. So this guy brings, Jesus Christ. So he brings a bottle of Remy Martin. Guys, that's the door, please ignore it. So he brings a bottle of Remy Martin. Remy Martin is, I don't know what type of alcohol it is because I don't really know my alcohol, but I'm going to write out what it is on the screen. So he brings out 2 cups and he pours this alcohol. I'm telling you that Norma is 4, I'm 6. He pours the alcohol into these cups, and then he pours some Coke, because I remember he mixed it with Coke, and he was telling us to drink it. So we were chugging it down. First of all, oh God, how could I forget? He was like, have you guys ever had this before? He's sure that our dad has it around all the time. Have we ever tasted it? And then I was like, nah, I haven't tasted it before. He was like, would you like to taste it? I was like, sure, I'd like to taste it. And he tells us to drink. And then we're chugging it down. I was like, And he was like, okay, so you said we were going to get some things from the store. So when are we going? I kind of dropped the cup because I thought it was bitter. There was a Coke there, but then, you guys know me about how I say I don't like the way alcohol tastes. It didn't start today. And I think it was the same thing with Norma as well. So we were very persistent. We were like, yeah, we have to go so that we can go home. Like, you told us when we were just kind of chatting, we're just kind of just talking like kids, He's like, okay, let's go. So we go all the way to the store, which is still not that far from my house, but it was a lot farther from my house than his house or my cousin's house was. We went there, we picked out things, and he bought it. So he's holding me and Norma on our hands, and then we're walking back. He's like, okay, let's go back home. And then we're now coming, and my grandma now sees us on her way back. My grandma was coming back from something and she sees the two of us and she's like, where are you people coming from? Oh, Uncle this saw us with XYZ and he was like, he wanted to buy us some pencils and before we go back home. And we're like, okay, let's follow him to go and buy pencils. All of this was not happening. Like, it all happened, to be very honest, in about 30 minutes. I was even so excited. I was like, Mama, look at the pencils and all of that. My grandma was so pissed. She was so pissed and so angry. She kind of just grabs the two of us from his hands and she was like, why did you people go out? Does your mom know you had gone out? And let me tell you guys, my mom is like very, very careful when it comes to us. But I think that because, it's the village and everybody's relaxing and all my cousins are about and everybody's doing their own thing and playing and the compound is massive and we're all doing different things, it would never have occurred to my mom that we're not even in the compound. Because we also had people who we lived with who were supposed to be in charge of us, right? While all of this was happening. And they didn't even know that we had followed this other cousin and that this other guy has seen us on the way. And I remember as a child, one feeling that I remember that just stands out from this entire thing was just like, why is she so upset that our uncle, to me, I was like, this is practically, in my own mind, this is almost your son now, like in my mind, but this is uncle, we know him. Like, why are you pissed? My grandma wasn't having it. And then I remember she took us back home and I remember my mom, when we came back, my mom took me into a room. Because I'm a very visual person. My memory is very visual. I'm not auditory. I don't really remember what people said clearly at specific times, but I always remember where I was when they were saying things to me, if that makes sense. So I remember that my mom dragged me into my grandparents' house. I was the older one here, so I should have known better. To be honest, I even never... Do you know, like me and Norma never even said that we were given alcohol to drink. And I remember that I was like this low and I remember my mom being this high and she was basically like telling me never ever in my life that I should know better, that why would I take my sister and all of that. And I feel like even as a child, I still to a very large extent struggled to understand what I had done wrong and why it had been so wrong to go out with this person who I thought all of us knew. And the reason why I feel like this story that I have just told now is, but every time I tell the story I have goosebumps because I just like it dawns on me so much. I think I remember the first time I remember the story as a young adult, and it dawns on me just how God saved my life, me and my sister's life that day, and how my grandma, like how God had just placed her on the road, to see us and just intercept us. Because guys, do you know what the story could have been if this guy had just like gone off with us after he had gotten the pencils and tried to convince us to follow him somewhere else? The reason why I feel like this story is really important now is because of, we're all under self-isolation and we're all doing the whole quarantine thing, depending on how you decide to pronounce it. And a lot of big families are doing it together. A lot of places where extended family members live with you, that you're all doing it together. The reason why I'm really just stressing this right now is that I feel like we all tend to relax when we feel like we are all with family. We're all with people who you consider family. And a lot of us live with extended family members who on a normal day don't really have access to your children, boys, girls. And in situations like this, just put them in very close proximity with your children. Please, mothers, be very careful. You have to know where your children are. We're all still like Nigeria and a lot of places in the world. We are all kind of in stage 1 from what everybody's saying around the time I'm doing this video anyways. But guys, please, I know that there might be a point where people want to just move closer to people who they consider family. Abuse is rife during this period. And people are going to try all kinds of nonsense. Please be very vigilant and try to figure out where your children are. A lot of the time, or most of the time, children are abused by people who they are very familiar with, people who they know very well, people who they trust or they somewhat trust, or people who they believe have their best interests at heart most of the time. And I know that a lot of us have these stories because, guys, as grown-ups, a lot of us actually do need therapy and we need to discuss certain things, and I feel like culture doesn't even give us room to discuss sometimes. Even as adults, I've seen, like just discussing with some of my female friends, that we have stories that sometimes, like I have friends who have suppressed some of them, that when they even try to recount them, they are not telling them as if it happened to them. Sometimes they're even like, did it really even happen to me? And then when it starts coming back, and it's because they are so bad that you suppress them. And I know that we also grew up kind of with a generation of people who Sometimes I have a friend who, like, even as an adult, when she remembered after suppressing it for a very long time and brought it up to her mother was still low-key defending the person who had done it to her. So people are going to try all kinds of nonsense this period. Please know where your children are. And to family members, name and shame, of course, when we remembered this and remembered the alcohol that was involved, me and Norma, because I don't think that Norma remembered it as clearly as I did, we told our mom, and my mom was so upset. Pay very close attention. I know that stress levels are high, and this is not necessarily the best thing to bring up right now, but I also think that it's very, very important because we can focus on so many other things that we think are important, and worse things are happening under our noses, roofs. Know where the really young and vulnerable are, because this is the proper situation scenario for a lot of evil people to just take advantage of children. Pay very close attention to what the younger ones, your siblings, children, are trying to tell you within this period about anybody, even if the person is your brother. This is really, really important, guys. I remember when the whole Bisola thing was going on last year, and a constant with all the people who were sharing stories from their past was parents dismissing what they were trying to tell them. Sometimes mothers would dismiss what their daughters were saying. I even remember one told her she was possessed. I can't remember who shared the story exactly. Told her she was possessed, took her to a pastor. Pastor was abusing her, told her parents. Her parents said that it's the demon in her that is speaking against this man of God. Please, I know that I was very lucky with this story that I told, and I know that some people were just not that lucky. But whatever it is, please, I just really want to just let you know that none of it was your fault. Even thinking, I remember like when I started remembering this, because for a very long time in my life I actually didn't remember this. Then all of a sudden one day I remembered it, and I called Norma. I was like, do you remember that this happened to us? And she was like, yeah, come to think of it, it did. And I remember even remembering it at first. The automatic thing was, oh, I was 6, that I should have known better. None of it was my fault. If you're a mom or an elder sibling, talk to your siblings and just encourage them to be very open to share very funny, like share things that you consider strange or funny to you. Tell them who not to trust. Talk to them and keep an open ear. And when they've done things like this without knowing better, please, your automatic reaction shouldn't be to punish them. Because what happens is if you punish and punish and punish, next time when they make a stupid decision, they don't want to bring it to your attention because you punished them for it the last time. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to share things that you consider important or things that will add positively to this conversation, or even your own, like any story you have or any experience, in the comment section. I love you guys, and I'll see you in my next one.